Welcome back to a new esports video. Today, as you can see, we are playing against Sword Assassin, who are I don't know what rank they are, but hopefully I've put that up on your screen so you can see. Anyways, this is the second esports match that I'm going to be showing you guys. Unfortunately, good matchups do not come around very often. The last esports video that I posted was against MMG, and at the time of recording this video, that was over 2 weeks ago, so I do apologise for that. But as I said, these videos do take quite a long time to produce because of the lack of good matchups in the esports scene right now. Anyways, let's dive right into this. So, as always, I'm going to be scanning the bases at the start of the match. I'm looking for a good plan, and in this case, I really wanted to try out the RC charge with the haste vial. I've seen that loads in the August 2025 qualifier when I was watching that. Also, if you guys do want to see me stream some esports matches on YouTube maybe, then let me know in the comments. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Anyways, this was the base that I came across. I thought that a spirit walk into the town hall would be good, but we'll get into that in a moment when we look at the planning for this base. There are 2 esports matches in this video. There are 2 live attacks, and I will be going in depth with the planning before jumping in to the attacks. But we're also going to be showing you guys some replays from the matches, as well as the result for both of the matches. So make sure to use the timestamps to skip to the part of the video that most interests you. But without further ado, let's get into the plan for this base. So let's dive right in to the plan for this base. I have actually already done the attack on this base because I do not quite have enough time to actually mark out a plan in the actual esports match. But nonetheless, this should be just as good. So as I mentioned, I did want to do the RC charge with the haste vial on this base. Now what I spotted is that this town hall looks quite easy to work my RC into it. So I was looking at different options of how I could force my RC into this town hall and use an earthquake, try and get the crusher mortar and the town hall down, and maybe also a fire splitter at the start of the attack. So I was looking at different spirit walks. I was first looking maybe this wizard tower, to the expo, to the mortar, to the multi-arch tower. But in the end, I decided not to do anything like that. I did spend quite a long time looking at the spirit walk, but this is what I went for in the end. Starting on this mortar right here with the RC charge, the RC takes down this mortar, and simultaneously as the RC is taking down the mortar, we send in 3 rocket balloons to snipe this bomb tower, and then of course the RC will path to the multi-arch tower, the expo, and then we can use an invis spell if necessary to push the RC into the town hall. Go with the earthquake spell, something like this, and then she kind of just takes down a value like that. Then afterwards, of course, we will have this area open. I'm just going to remove some of that. Let's mark out what we did spirit walk, so something like that. Then we have a nice path with the root riders into this inferno tower here, like so. We can start up the queen in this area here, and hopefully she'll be able to take down the funnel for this side of the base, as well as the king who can work on the outside of the base alongside the queen. Now, my biggest worry for this base was this central monolith, because I was only going to be bringing 1 overgrowth spell, as I did get a slightly higher value from the RC charge, and of course I will not have the rocket spear, so I cannot use the RC to go in and grab the core for me, which is of course a problem. So I do have 1 overgrowth spell. I plan to kind of overgrowth somewhere in the core, like this. It all really depended on what happened in the attack. I kind of just did that on the fly once I realized that this was quite a good entry into the base. The rest should be cruising. We should be able to use our spells to support the heroes, as long as we're using our headhunters, super barbs, and the hero abilities well. This one should be crushed. So without further ado, let's get into the live attack on this base. Okay, I'm going to keep it a stack. I have never used this army before, but I did see Word use it, so, you know, if Word's using it, it's got to be good, right? So this is the plan as we talked about previously, and hopefully we can keep the fox up. That'd be ideal, but if we can't, that's also perfectly fine. There we go, perfect so far. RC, keep driving forward, please, and thank you. Okay, and ideally we get one of the fire splitters down. I think I'm going to risk it here and... Ooh! Yes, perfect. This is looking great at the moment. Maybe get this builder hut down too. Right, maybe. Oh my goodness. Okay. We're all right. Okay, let's go like this. Like this, into the base. Looking great at the moment. Poison that up. And just chill. Let's just take a chill pill for a moment. Okay, let's get the queen started. Let's get this started up. Let's get the king started now. Okay, we're looking good. We'll remain nice and calm. Make sure that ricochet cannon isn't going to do something that we don't want it to do, being locking onto my queen. Okay. Now then, let's remain calm. Okay, what? How did my queen... How did my queen lose that much health in like 5 seconds? I've got no idea. Okay, that's fine though. We were expecting the queen to take tons of damage when I was looking away for 5 seconds, right? That's the thing. Okay, let's pop the warden ability now, get everything healed up. Send in this headhunter. Make sure everything's still going around. RC is doing a great job in the core there. Queen does need to stay alive, and she is not in a great spot at the moment, but we're actually looking okay. If my healers would like to maybe be a bit more useful. Also, my warden's kind of throwing right now. He's kind of like in firing range of the mono, right? So I think my warden's dead. I'm not even going to try and keep him alive, but I think we do have this one. So it all depends on if the Yetis can get that mono down for me. And I think they do. But the question is, can we actually finish it off? Queen is... Okay, Queen might have saved this one. We need to hold our warden ability. Sorry, what am I even talking about? We need to hold our king... You know what? I'm just yapping at this point. I'm trying to build suspense like all the YouTubers do. I'd love to start streaming Clash of Clans YouTube. So, Clash of Clans esports matches. I'm trying to build suspense, but look, it's a 3-star. Pretty happy with this one, considering I've never used the haste file variant of this attack before. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. I think this match is already completely cooked. But we'll skip forward in time, find out what the match result was, and then after that, we are going to check out some of the replays from this match, and then move on to another match. So let's get right into it. So there we go, first attack and first match. As you can see, we were able to win despite the 54% 1-star from Malvo. Yes, I'm calling Malvo out because that attack was absolutely horrible. Anyways, as you can see, I was able to 3-star, but the other 3-star was from Kaito. Now, if you have watched this channel for probably about a month now, you'll know that Kaito's attacks are very clean. He does fireball, so we're going to watch one of Kaito's attacks before hopping in to the next match. Again, use the timestamps if you want to skip it, but let's go. So here we are, Kaito attacking base number 5. Now again, if you have watched any of Kaito's hits, you will know he uses Fireball and he does this weird thing with the Spirit Charge and then does a Flame Flinger. So really keep your eye on the Flame Flinger throughout this attack. I watched it for the first time just a moment ago and I was pretty astonished. So he goes with the Spirit Walk and he snipes some of the ranged defenses that can target his Flame Flinger. At the same time there, he went with a nice Fireball onto that Monolith. Now do note, he doesn't use all of his healers. You can see he still has one healer in his back pocket. Now that is very intentional because as you can see, any second now, there we go. He recalls the Warden because the Warden, if he goes into the CC in both those heroes, he's going to get cooked pretty quickly. Hence the recall spell. Now, of course, keeping our eye on the Flame Flinger. He's already invested 2 Invis spells and a recall spell to get the Flame Flinger on target. He's also used both Earthquake spells. He's used 2 recall spells in total and 1 Invis spell for the Warden Charge. Now he's investing even more into this Flame Flinger. Now I'm not going to lie, I don't think he expected to get the value that he did actually get. But as you can see, the Flame Flinger is doing great work. Now I expected the Flame Flinger to go to the merged cannon thing there, whatever it's called. But it doesn't. It decides to take a turn to the multi-arch tower. So he actually wall breaks the Flame Flinger so that it can reach in and, well, you'll see in just a moment what happens. Anyways, Warden Charge is going strong. Now, if I were him, I'd say he did go a little bit early with the hero dive here in just a moment. As you can see, I probably would have waited for the Poison Tower to go down. Should have only taken an extra couple of seconds, but nonetheless, he does start the hero dive into that compartment. However, he's going to take a fair bit of damage and he's going to be slowed down by the Poison Tower. Regardless, the Flame Flinger is still going and it takes the turn into the base and it's actually going to target the Multi-Inferno there. These guys were running really weird CCs. This guy had 4 rocket balloons and a furnace, so in a bit of a panic, he decided to poison the rocket balloons, although the furnace probably would have been slightly better value. Anyways, as I said, keep your eye on this Flame Flinger. It is still going. He starts the RC charge up. Now, bear in mind, it made it like this attack is fizzling out. But look at how many Invis spells he has left over. He hasn't used a single Invis spell in forever. And the Siege Barracks, of course, had the super minions inside. They even get the Town Hall down. I mean, the value from that Flame Flinger was just absolutely ridiculous. And he definitely has enough here to carry him through the rest of the base. Probably the RC alone with the 4 Invis spells Could have cleaned this one up, but as you can see, it is absolutely smashed. Now, no, his queen isn't alive, his king isn't alive. Again, maybe if he went slightly delayed on the king and queen dive, they would have stayed alive, but nonetheless, 4 invis spells swagged in hard mode with fireball is absolutely bonkers. So that was the first match of the video. Let's get into the second match. So here we go, the second match, one day later. I'm opening in this match. We are Team B, so I need to get planning fairly quickly. Of course, as usual, we're scanning all of the bases, trying to look for potential weaknesses. I came across this base and I thought it might be a good one for me to attack. We'll get into the planning a bit later in the video. Of course, you guys know the drill by now. I still decided to check the rest of the bases, although I was pretty set on base number 3, which should be a good one for my Root Rider army. Now, of course, I'm always adapting the Root Rider army. I'm never really sticking to the same variant. You know, I have my Legends army. I can also switch out and use the Haste Spell, which I just previously showed you. And we are going to use a slightly different variant of Root Riders this time around. So let's get right into the planning. So here we are. Here is the base that we have claimed for this match. Just a bit of a disclaimer. I have actually already done the attack. I'm recording this after I've done the attack because normally I don't have enough time to plan the hit. But nonetheless, here was the plan for this base. The immediate thing that I spotted was the huge lack of multi-targeting damage around this bottom corner, which kind of means that this multi-gear cannon and the monolith are quite vulnerable to, of course, the Skelly spell. And then, of course, it's pretty obvious that they are line in line with each other like this, and there's a really, really good Dark Elixir collector that I can use to get a really nice giant arrow off into both of those defenses, and as well, I'm able to reach the CC. So in this case, because my log launcher will also be able to target the CC, I will not need to bring a poison spell because my log launcher will take down the furnace, whereas I would normally have to bring the poison spell to deal with the furnace. This time we have the log launcher doing that. So it's kind of like a 3-in-1 here where we get the mono, we get the merge gear cannon, and we get down portion of the CC if there are any furnaces inside. So now I've figured out where I want to log launcher with the giant arrow and of course the earthquake spell. So that means that I need to set this up with my spirit walk. So the obvious options here are to go into this arch tower, wizard tower, bomb tower, and expo. I was slightly worried that the RC may go to the multi-gear cannon and the the monolith, but I felt that probably the builder would have set it up in a way to where you wouldn't be able to spirit walk the multi-gear cannon and the monolith without using some kind of troop or spell to redirect her into that section. Was a bit of a worry during the attack, but nonetheless, maybe it worked out, maybe it didn't. Anyways, then my plan was that the RC would go to this air defense and not to the multi-gear cannon, and that way I can use an invis spell on the ricochet cannon and the mortar here to try and force my RC into the fire spitters here and get down this poison tower. I was hoping to take down this section of the base here so that I have the nice path with the log launcher into the core of the base, and I've effectively split it in half by using the log launcher. So we've planned the spirit walk, the log launcher, now we need to think about the root riders. So of course the obvious option here is to enter behind the furnace, because of course we're going to have support from the log launcher off to the side, and as well we're going to be able to avoid the fire splitter damage the whole way through this attack, which is really, really good for me. But of course, I do need to find my root riders and make sure they do go into the base. Now, in this case, there's a pretty heavy amount of buildings here. I'm trying to click the blue there, it wouldn't let me. Okay. There's quite a lot of buildings around this area, right? And if I place the king down here, he's going to be solo taking the ricochet cannon damage and the multi-archer tower damage. Why can't I talk? Anyways, my plan here was to use a furnace. If you do notice, the mortar range is just slightly out of range of this helper hut here in the corner, which means that a furnace here, my plan was that it would hopefully take down this corner of buildings here so that I could start my king slightly off to the side where he would be a little bit less vulnerable, and my root riders would path something more like this through the base and then in like that, and then the king can push them in kind of over on this section here. So that was my general plan. Then of course the final thing we need to look at is the overgrowth spell. Now the obvious one here is to overgrowth this multi-gear mortar, the crusher mortar and the monolith. Oh my goodness, I can't talk. The multi-inferno in the core to make sure that my root rider path stays nice and straightforward to the town hall. So my overgrowth would be something like this. Now I was going to bring 2 overgrowth spells. I wasn't 100% sure if I would need the second one, but of course I took it. I was safe. I could just go with the same overgrowth that I just did, or I could try and find a better overgrowth once the first one wears off. Anyways, that was my plan for this base. Let's get right into the live attack. Okay, we are live. Let's get the show on the road. RC down. Let's get the first invis off before we place down the furnace right about now. And get this furnace going. Perfect. Looking good at the moment. Hopefully she does go to that air defense. That was the one thing I was a bit iffy about. Does look like she is going to go there though. Unlucky, the monolith does get a hit off on the fox, but it's fine. One invis. Well done, RC. No baits as well, which is always an added bonus. And looking great at the moment. Not going to do anything fancy with any of the invis spells. There we go. Beautiful stuff. So, giant arrow, perfectly lined. Need the log launcher on this one. And we're looking great. Okay. Let's chill for a moment. And now go with this thingy. Oh, Mono, thank you, Mono. Thank you, Mono. Okay, CC's coming out, and as expected, hopefully the furnace... Yes, the furnace is getting hit, which is great news. Okay. Looking great at the moment. Let's start up the king. With the witches. Again, still looking good. Still looking good. Headhunter onto that there. Come on, let's keep moving, everyone. Hopefully nothing turns backwards. That would be quite bad. Put this here. Put this. Like this. Like this. Okay, come on, let's keep moving. Freeze like that. No queen ability is my worry here. I think we do have it though, right? Time could be an issue. We'll Skelly spell just for the sake of doing it. I don't think it's actually going to do anything, but I was kind of planning to use it on the mono at the start, but it didn't really turn out that way. It kind of turned out that I didn't really need the Skelly spell in the end, but looks like it is going to be yet another 3-star, so a very successful video. Glad I could get the 3 stars in for you guys, showing you that the strength of this Root Rider army is not limited to just the normal Spirit Walk. You can do it with the Haze Veil, and you can do it with the Log Launcher. So there we go, very pleased with this one. Let's get into some of the attacks, the best attacks from this match. But before we do that, let's check out the match result. So the match has just concluded, and as you can see, we were able to win on percent. Both teams getting themselves a 3-star, me being on my team and this other dude. But we're going to show you guys some replays from this match, starting with the enemy's team 3-star. So let's get right into it. So this guy right here, Anax Imander, is using dragons, as you can see. And this attack was very clean. Now, Kaito's base isn't great, but nonetheless, we need to give credit where credit is due. This was a pretty clean 3-star. So, as you can see, he is going for the Spirit Walk at the 6 o'clock compartment there, taking down the Ricochet Cannon, the Expo, the Multi-Archer Tower, and then as you can see, he uses the 1 Overgrowth spell to push the RC into the Town Hall. Now, I don't really know if it was necessary to use an entire Overgrowth spell. Maybe just 1 Invis would have done the job, but at the same time, I guess he didn't want to take any risks, and probably the RC would have gone back out to the multi-arch tower from this multi-inferno if the overgrowth wasn't there, and of course if he didn't just hit the tornado trap. But nonetheless, as you can see, he is able to spirit walk a ton of this base. He is right in that core and getting even more value. Only 1 invis spell left. He did not bring a poison spell, surprisingly. I don't actually think there was a furnace in the CC. If there was a furnace, that would have definitely done a lot of damage to him. But there we go. Actually, as you can see, there was a furnace, but the RC was able to take it down. So overall, a really, really clean RC charge. Now he has split the base into this kind of C shape. He's going to go with the dragons on the slightly thicker side of the C, and the thinner side of the C is where he's going to be placing the king, which is pretty standard. I hope that does make sense. Anyways, dragons are making pretty quick work of this initial compartment here. Not sure what the poison tower was doing on our end. I don't know where it launched, what it launched to there. Don't even think it was in shot, but it didn't even launch onto the dragon, so the poison tower is throwing a little bit. But as you can see, this one doesn't really have much of a chance at slowing down, considering that most of the defenses are ground targeting. There's only really the scatter shot and the air defense there, which can actually do damage or significant damage to the dragons. And as you can see, the super minions down there do snipe the fire spitter. King ability gets forced at this point, but as you can see, everything converging to this final compartment. Minion print is ridiculously healthy. The Dark Crown is so good on the minion print. But fair play to this guy. Very clean dragon attack. Not easy to do. But let's jump in to another replay from this war day. Alright then, so let's jump into a replay on our end. This is Anas's attack, and if you guys were paying attention, he got a 96% 2-star in this attack. But I did think it was a fairly good attack, so I'm going to show it off. Unfortunately, most of the attacks were pretty sloppy in this war day. No disrespect to the other team, but they weren't particularly good, so I don't think anyone was really trying. But we do have a very interesting esports match to come up very soon. Anyways, as you can see, Anas here is going with the spirit charge into the poison tower compartment here. RC is throwing a little bit, not really sure where she's going. Decides to target the queen, I think, and then she targeted the Tesla. So I'm actually not 100% sure if Anas does get the poison tower down here, and looks like he does. Recalls the RC, so looking really strong at the moment. Now this is where I was a little bit perplexed, shall we say, is he starts the Root Riders on the opposite side of the Fire Spitters, so he's going to have to enter into these Fire Spitters at some point, which I think was the nail in the coffin for this attack. I think as soon as he went into here, he's made his life quite harder, because of course the Fire Spitters are going to be very annoying. Anyways, CC is lured, and I believe he doesn't get the poison down straight away. There we go, poison is down. And I think he has also caught the minion prince with the poison, so very clean there. King on the outside of the base. Unfortunately, the queen does go inward, although maybe not unfortunate. I think the king can probably do the funneling on his own, but as you can see, he is losing a ton of health without any tanking from the queen and support with the queen. Anyways, as you can see, Root Riders going into the base. He's got a very clear path there into the town hall. Perhaps the RC ability was popped just a little bit early there. And finally, the annoying enemy queen goes down. And as you can see, this Fire Spitter on the back end here has just been hitting him the entire attack. And I think that was really the issue with this one. The Ricochet Cannon does then snipe the RC, because I do think that the Rocket Spear was slightly too early. But nonetheless, as you can see, it's not going to get a lot further than this. He doesn't really have a way to reach the Crusher Mortar. Does have the freeze spell to try and keep this one alive. But with the Mortar taking down his Warden, again, not really a great path into the Crusher Mortar. You know, maybe if he selected the Queen ability or something like that, he could have got this one done. But as you can see, there you go. Giant is going down. Sooner or later, perhaps with a bit more time, he would have been able to triple this one. Although, actually, I don't even think it was a time fail in the end. I think it was just a fail. So again, I think his biggest mistake here was not entering behind the two Fire Spitters. Of course, that is where you would expect most of the air trap bait to be, trying to get the healers down. But nonetheless, I think that was a better entry. And as you can see, very close. But that is all I have for you guys today. Let's get into the recap. So there we go. That was 2 recent esports matches for you guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. These videos do take me quite significantly longer to produce. And again, I do apologise for the lack of hard mode uploads. I know you guys do enjoy this style of video, but unfortunately, as I said, my esports team is fairly inactive at the moment. So I'm not getting too many great matchups that are really substance for a video, because I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me just triple some random under-leveled base. But nonetheless, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know if you want to see some hard mode streams in the future, and also just any more hard mode content. I'd love to know your feedback. But thank you guys for watching. As always, goodbye.